Me nervous, I take a piss, my hand on the string. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach, paranoid, I can't let them they won't see me I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with perky, now that hair right numb his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach, paranoid, I won't let them they won't see me I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach, paranoid, I can't let them they won't see me
Lost, see, I glossed too, we shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the
Suave on the track.
Yeah. It's Sally. I'ma try to just let the music flow through me on this one. Yeah. I gotta speak the truth because the truth will set you free. But the truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. But the truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. These niggas all about it free. And don't compare me with them. He reached inside Pandora's box and he left with no limbs, trying to get ahead, and every night repenting his sins. He feel it within, and now it starts to leak off his pen. He wants to give up, cause now he sees his weakness again. He hates himself because he's different, and he feel like he's been to hell and back 1,000 times, and he can't get a win. He knows that the light, it flickers, but some days it be dim, convincing himself that the time it moves according to him, and the world is really his, but y'all just living within his perception like reflection. He just bent it again to rationalize his mistakes, to think he's winning again. He face the truth, feel like a lion in his booth. I'm never lying in this booth. Get my soul, I be crying in this booth. In the galactic, I travel with a ride in this booth. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. Yeah. The truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. Trying to let go of old ways. Matrix got me in a daze for days. Then I wake up, back to the craze, back to what's great. Sleep again, restart the phase. I'm stuck in a maze. How the fuck I'm still in this place? I've lived, I've died, I've lived, but I'm still on this chase. I've lived, I've died, I've lived, but I know this is fate. The evil one starts to test that arrival. Every day I walk on this earth, an attack on my vitals. I mean my flesh, the spirit protected but need a vest. Cause demons, they walk among us, we nine, and no we threats. My name Helly.
My name Ted, you know the rest. Need a mountain in Budapest with some monks to denounce my flesh. Cause the world becoming a mess. My girl becoming the nuisance, my wife becoming the test. My kids is all that I live for, avoiding them when I'm stressed. Attached with civilian life, still walk around with a vest. A general when the zombie cut legs and I sever chest. God forgive me for the test that I failed. So no man hell, you're seeking angels in the flesh. We need Jesus. Big crying out since a fetus, believe it. I'm Nicodemus whenever judgment bells ringing, lights fleeting. Tell the truth when the water's deep and the drown when the lies creep in. It's cool in the dark till light creep in. Good offense, get by defense. I buy demons in the name of you know. I'm Van Gogh with Vans on Pluto. Or on Mars, you see stars when we fall through though. The 24K everything, I'm all proof though. That it still gold and we still pure. Dante, go ahead and shoot though.
I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. Yeah, the truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. I gotta speak my truth because the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free.
whatever it takes. Exactly.
Right, this shit crazy.
Feel nothing at all. Put my pain and don't.
Out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, drop them fire emojis in the chat, man. For the Aboriginal power, man. Y'all know the vibes, man. Let's get it.
For my pain and don't feel nothing at all. For these niggas, nah, ain't nothing but God. I had to move around with nothing but frauds. I tried to bring the team together, get my vision involved. I gave a plan, but niggas scrambled the time to pick up that call. We can't get 1,500 in a 6-week span. Time to pay up, everybody goes, I be down. I should've seen it. All I got is Rain, Slim, Tim, you know it's Teach. I got Tay and I got Leaf. I got Deja and Salih. I got Four and they got Feet. They say your name, that's cause you preach. Them niggas folded under heat. No umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream to stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. If you my nigga, then just say it. If you ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Yeah.
My nigga, then just say it.
Let it rain down.
Let it rain down. Right, this shit crazy.
Yeah. We gotta weather the storm. If you don't understand, get better informed. I'm from the trench, and my trust really weathered and torn. With my niggas from the sandbox, trying to put this shit on top some water, but we land locked. But y'all want the same shit, but can't get on the same page. How bad do y'all really want it? Niggas just be saying things, replacing with y'all lives now. Every that I pipe down. Yeah, I was chilling for a minute, but I'm live now. Niggas talking about the past, come get with me right now. Come and really see my grind. Come and see me live now. I'm live now. I'm live now. Come and see me live now. Ain't no umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream, then stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. My nigga, then just say it. You ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Yeah. Ain't no umbrella, let them shots rain down. You believe the dream, then stand up, if not lay down. Let it rain down. If you my nigga, then just say it. If you ain't got it, then just say it. Let it rain down. Let it rain down. Yeah.
You my nigga, then just say it. You my brother, then just say it.
Let it rain down.
Let it rain down. Right, this shit crazy.
Peace, love, and light to all the American Aborigines, man. What's going on with it, man? They tweaking with your boy algorithm today. Why they tweaking with my algorithm today? I don't know what they got going on, but man, make sure y'all share the live stream, spread the knowledge, share it on all your social media outlets. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody that's cracking around. How y'all feeling out here this Grand Rising? How are y'all feeling this Grand Rising? I need y'all to make sure y'all tap in. Make sure y'all tap in, support the channel. You understand what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Y'all know the vibes, man. Hey, before we even get started, I want to say peace and blessings and love to each and every one of you guys that's in the building. Make sure y'all share this on all your social media outlets. Y'all know the vibes. Shout out to all the Aboriginal peoples across the planet. And shout out to all my American Aborigines that's tapping in. Shout out to all you guys. It's nothing but love. Shout out to everybody else that's tuning in to support Aboriginal Power Platform, his research, his dedication, and his commentary on certain subjects. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I do want to shout out everybody that's in here. We got 32 people in here currently, which is that's like half of the amount of people that's normally in here at this time. Like, I don't know what's going on. Must be a gang of people live. I have not checked, so it must be a gang of people live. So shout out to everybody that's in here right now. We appreciate you guys taking the time out to come rock with us. I am going to shout out everybody in the chat that's in here currently right now. So if you in the chat, if you're listening, drop a fire emoji. Let me know you're in the chat. I'm going to shout you guys out for coming in. Shout out to Aboriginal Strikes Back, Darius Matthews. Shout out to Nate Bad Y'all. Shout out to Darius Matthews, Boot Camp, Yita Vilified, Travis Calloway, English, Kingdom of English. Good to see you in here, brother. Haven't seen you in a minute. A dots, V dots. What's going on, brother? I messaged you the other day on Instagram. I think you got it. Shout out to Bobby Two Fly in the building. Bobby Two Fly, J Rock in the building. Elizabeth Young is in the building. Yanetta Yaz in the building. Infinite the God is in the building. Joe, what's going on, Joe? You should come on the panel and build with us, Joe. A conscious goddess, good to see you in here. Empress Samantha White, good to see you in here as well. Paul Pizzle Wizzle in the building. Paul Pizzle Wizzle in the building. My big sister, Chickahominy Roots, peace and blessings. Shout out to my sister, Chickahominy Roots. Darius McNear, after everybody's in the building. If y'all can drop a fire emoji, that let me know that you can hear me loud and clear. Just drop a simple fire emoji, and that lets me know that you can hear me loud and clear. So y'all let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Oh, shout out to Paul Wizzle. He came over from Old World Florida channel. Shout out to Old World Florida. We'll definitely enjoy some of his content. Y'all might see me back over there again, dropping some heat. I actually enjoy the duo and the dynamic that we bring when we was building over there. So shout out to my brother, Dr. Longo. Shout out to everybody who helped uncover the dirt, whether you bringing a shovel, a pick, or you using your hands to remove the layers of dirt that has been stacked on top of our Aboriginal history, lineage, innovations, and inventions. So we appreciate everyone that does their due diligence, combing and peeling back the layers, getting to the truth, and going against mainstream narratives, which ultimately, obviously, is a lie, a lot of contradictions. And so we're here to establish truth and integrity amongst all people around the world. And we're starting here within Americas, dealing with my lineage and my ethnic race of people, which is Aboriginal people of the Americas. And we're going to go down and chop it up with everybody. But, man, before we even do that, man, shout out to everybody in here. Man, we got 46 in here. Y'all see the title, right? Y'all see the title. I need y'all to share this. I need y'all to, everybody in the chat, y'all go tag Jabari. I want y'all to go tag Jabari, go to Sonetta channel, copy this video, leave this in a comment section, and say Aboriginal Power want that smoke with Jabari. I need y'all to go leave this video in Sonetta's YouTube. Whatever video you want, the latest one, the update, whatever one. Leave these video right here inside the comment section. Tag them on Instagram. Tag them on Twitter. Because we're not African. And since the debate with Rob Bourne, I exposed some of these Pan-Africans and how they move, and to the point where now they're no longer claiming to be Pan-African. They now black nationalists. They now moving into a new altered state. They're no longer connecting to Pan-Africanism. They're now moving to a new perspective, which is called black nationalism. So now these people are black nationalists. They leaving behind the Pan-African process, thanks to you guys in the Aboriginal community, and changing the paradigm and bringing out truth. Give you guys a pat on the back. You have been very much central to the work that has been put in. So we appreciate you guys as well. Shout out to each and every one of you guys that's in the building, that's been putting in that work. Give yourself a pat on the back. You understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So Jabari and this whole Pan-African community been smashed down. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people don't understand about who these Aborigine is. We had an African come on yesterday, an alleged indigenous African from Sudan come on that says she knows that it was black people here, and that the black people that was here was not African, but Africans are all around the world is what she also said that Pan-Africanism, trying to unite black people or Africans all around the world, is hogwash bullshit. That was a highlighted factor out of yesterday's live stream. Maybe we can get some people that's into the videos and the edits and the clips. Maybe y'all can go find that particular segment in yesterday's live stream, make a clip or short, send it to me so I can upload it. I think that'll be good to promote some of these conversations that is emphatically getting rid of the narrative. You have an indigenous African having a conversation with a Pan-African. The indigenous African says she's not a Pan-African and that Pan-Africanism is fake. I know that crushed my Pan-African brothers' feelings because they look up to these Africans. They love these Africans. You know what I'm saying? And to have an African say that, listen, that shit is fake. I know it crushed their heart. And I'm going to continue to crush their heart, you guys. I'm going to continue to crush their heart. And that's how we know that Jabari is scared of Aboriginal power. I've called Jabari out since 2019. He probably overlooked my channel because I probably only had 1,000 to 2,500 subscribers at the time. So you know how that. Y'all know how that shit go. But now that we at 30,000 subscribers, less than 4 years left down the line, I'm still challenging Jabari to a debate. I just smashed and whooped on Rodborn, and now it's time for me to get Jabari. Or give me polite. I want the Aboriginal conversation dealing with some of the sciences, dealing with some of the civilizations. I want to have these conversations. You understand what I'm saying? Shout out to Lewis Luck. Hey, Lewis Luck. Not a coincidence. Definitely cried big crocodile tears, and he dried up his tears with an African blackety black newspaper article. And he knows, like I know, like we know, like you know, that most of these newspaper articles was making fake articles to the point where they was going to discontinue newspapering. The newspaper company industry was going to be obsolete. It was going to be cut off. It was going to be amputated because of the fake news propaganda in the 1800s. And you notice he pulls up all these articles from the 1800s. So we got to be skeptical about a lot of these articles that they bring out. But I do want to get into a paradigm shift dealing with the Pan-African movement, who started this Pan-Africanism, the ideology. And I told y'all that it comes from white boys. And these white boys ushered these Negroes into putting on a three-piece suit, a handkerchief, and gave them a Bible to push you to this African shit. You ain't gonna be able to come up to me with no nigga in the church is gonna be a revolutionary soldier up under Robert Finn. You're gonna have to give me somebody that's not in the church. But since we're not having this blackety black conversation, even though it's continuing, after I smashed Rob Bourne and exposed them for being the CIA agents that they are, Dr. Bean was an agent. Y'all see him on here with these Kim Bella Stroners. He was getting initiated into masonry, Freemasonry, up under the white boys, doing all kind of rituals to get in. Dr. Bean was initiated into the craft of Egyptology, doing all types of weird shit. And we know that the Masons directly used Egyptology, masonry to remove Egypt from Africa. Egypt is no longer considered Africa, according to the Masons. That's Mason work. Just like they removed the history of the Aboriginal indigenous peoples here. We got 52 people in here, man. Hey, don't forget to support all Aboriginal platforms, man. I don't care who it is. It could be motherfucking Big Dog, Dang, Ab TV, Chief Holiday. Make sure y'all go support the channels, y'all. Y'all gotta support the channels. Support the channels with the $5 challenge effect. Let them know that y'all appreciate the time and content. If y'all want to support my channel, feel free. You ain't got to. Cash Out and PayPal information at the bottom of the screen. Y'all support the channel, you guys. All right. So now, with that being said, we done eliminated a lot of factors. Ooh, this coffee hot. Dealing with who we are. The Pan-Africans never talk about white slavery. You've been hearing them talk about slavery since the 1900s. Never once mentioned the first slaves coming here were white. Because they have a narrative, they have an agenda, and they're been told they're only speaking. When you hear Pan-Africans speak, they're not speaking something that's natural to Aboriginal or African people or any melanated groups of people anywhere on the planet. They're only speaking and parroting what the white man told them to say. So all this back to Africa, All this, we were slaves. This is the same shit that the white man told them. Essentially, this is what the white men told them. So we're going to get into the Aboriginal versus the Pan-African ideology. The Pan-African ideology, which is now slowly being changed into black nationalism. Dr. Reggie said he's no longer a comedic freak, a Now Valley Science, or Pan-African. He's a black nationalist. Rob Bowen no longer considers himself a pro-black, a RBG, or a Pan-African. He's a black nationalist. And these people are coming to black nationality. And we're going to remove black, and we're going to show that the word black in Indian under laws, unconstitutional laws, might I add, has been connected and synonymous with Indian. Black and Indian is synonymous. So we're going to get into that in just a second. But before we do that, we're going to get into some of this audio we got breakdown. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building. Let's get to it.
Of what Christianity did to African Americans. That was a big part of his discussion because he was evaluating tribes before they got. Let me put this in perspective. He was in Africa before King Leopold came in 1885 and broke up Africa into the states that you see, partially the states that you see today. All right, because the states that you see today also are part of so-called independence movement. So-called independence movement. All right. So post 1885, Africa looks different than when he was there. And so when he was looking at things, he was looking at culture that had lived for thousands of years and people behaving a certain way in systems. And he was looking at African American. He would say, "Oh my God, look what they did to us."
Believe it or not, Dr. Ali Muhammad is one of the teachers of Aboriginal science, and he teaches a lot of the shit that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught about Aboriginals. So, this is Dr. Ali Muhammad, aka Chief Key Ali Key, Chief of Orna, President, founder of Orna. Shout out to Dr. Ali Muhammad. We appreciate his work. I'm actually going to try to reach out to him this year. I never really tried. I know he's a busy guy. I am going to try to reach out to him and try to do a collab. A lecture with him. Definitely would look forward to doing that. I look at him as one of the master teachers of the Aboriginal science, even though he came from various different understanding perspectives. But where he teaches and what he has laid down for Aboriginal understanding and science has been on point. I concur with it. If you guys have never heard of Dr. Ali Muhammad, go get brushed up on some of his information. Look at some of his videos. Let's get it. Hey, what'd you say, Bronze? What'd you say? Nigga said that Rob Bowen was the truth. I told them check that pay-per-view where he got bodied. Yeah, that nigga got bodied, bro. We bodied Rob Bowen, bro. Straight up.
Anybody who's traveled, you can look sometimes, even today, you can see some people have held on to their culture. And you can see it, and then you can see our behavior. It's like, oh God, we lost our minds. Okay, so let's show you these other folk who started the back to Africa. Now, he wasn't saying go back to Africa. He was saying we need a nationality, right? So it's not by chance that you had such a, and he was a very influential person in the public. And so after he started talking about this, you get Dred Scott, you get a whole bunch of things happen, right? So the point is, when you have ideas, you have to watch the parasite, because the parasite is watching for the good idea coming from the natural people so that they can clone it and make something fake or advertise you something different. That's important, all right? That's important, hugely important. All right, so let's find these white people who started the Back to Africa movement. Please, if you're watching online, don't get upset with me for saying that. I can prove my point, because people usually think that, we're trying to make fun of something, them, or it's not the case. We are only attempting to.
Hey man, we got 80 people in the building, man. Let's get some people in here to support the channel right now. Let's get a couple people in here to support the channel. We're going to do the information highway, man. We're going to the sources, man. Shout out to the 79, 80 people in here. Let's get a few people to drop them fire emojis if you can hear me. Hit that like button as you come in. If you're new, subscribe. You understand me? If you have not supported the channel with the $5 challenge, make sure you support all Aboriginal platforms. You know what I'm saying? Ab TV, Chief Holiday, Sister Soul, support, Sister Becky. And if y'all want to support me, y'all can. Feel free. Y'all know the information is at the bottom of the screen. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Now let's continue with this.
You won't waste your time. Right. And so you'll be inspired to act on some systems. Here we go. All right. Now, I put this here, right, because it's a reality. I'm not trying to name call. This might be somebody's great-great-grandfather who's watching online. I don't know. But these three right here, all right, Absalom Jones, Richard Allen, and James Fortin. So let me tell you what happened in 1817, all right? And I can read directly from them, and then you can see what happened. Okay. Actually, let me start here.
James Fortin,
Right, so,
Absalom Jones, and Paul Cuffey are the three amigos, the three founding fathers. In other words, the three sellout Negroes.
This is from page 111 of the Lost Aboriginal Heritage of the so-called Negro African American. This will help me just redirect. All right. Sincere free black leaders during this time were very suspicious of the American Colonization Society, which was started by Europeans. The purpose of the American Colonization Society was to...
If you don't believe me, look up who started the American Colonization Society. Go and look it up. It's started by Bushrod Washington, which is the nephew of George Washington, and it's also started by Robert Finley. Robert Finley is the guy that Paul Cuffey and Absalom Jones hooked up with at the Presbyterian Church, where they packed it out with 3,000 men, asking them, do they want to go back to Africa? That's who it was started by. The American Colonization Society was started by the guy whose church they was at. That's Robert Finley. All right, I just want to keep that in line as we go.
Europeans. The purpose of the American Colonization Society was to take free Negroes, many of whom were Masons, to Liberia and establish what is called Liberia today. Liberia was just indigenous lands in West Africa that our people lived in. And so what they did is they had to carry out a military assault to establish Liberia. Liberia is a state established by blacks from here who went there. And so this is why you have people here who say, oh, I got family in Liberia or whatever, because they have great-great-grandparents or whatever who were there. Liberia was an invading state established with the help of Europeans and African Americans, all right, back during the...
So Liberia is a state that was created by the help of Europeans and Black Americans, not Africans returning back to Africa, but Black Americans. And we know that the term Black in Philadelphia, we know that the term Black in Massachusetts, we know that the term Black in Connecticut was referring to Indian people. The term Black and Indian was synonymous. And this is according to the unconstitutional laws that went in Philadelphia, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. All right, I just want to relay that down. Shout out to everybody in the building. It's going to be a lengthy build, but you guys got to get through this content because it's exactly what I already been teaching, and it's what I laid down in my debate, and that's how I expose these guys that what Pan-Africans are saying is not even what Black people were saying. They're only saying what white people were saying. Seriously. I'm about to check my Instagram right now. Hey, shout out to everybody in the building, man. If y'all enjoying the content already, support the channel. Send in a donation. Let Big Aboriginal Power know. Hit that like button. Share the live stream. Tag me in it. Let me know. Shout out to everybody in the building. Let's go.
Great-great-grandparents or whatever who were there. Liberia was an invading state established with the help of Europeans and African Americans, all right, back during the 19th century, 1800s. Okay, sincere free Black leaders during this time were very suspicious of the American Colonization Society and the Back to Africa movement, and rightfully so. Let us now entertain the proofs and sources that uphold the fact that the American Colonization Society, which was designed to establish a colony in Africa for free blacks, was started by 7 white men. Ask yourself a question. Why did they want to start a colony? Because they were afraid that the free blacks here would inspire the slaves to rebel here, their property here. And so you got to look at it like this. If we have today, right, a movement for people to get out of jail, political prisoners, or whoever. We want all of our people out of jail because y'all denationalized us. And imagine them coming to us like, okay, look, we don't want the prisoners to come out. Y'all movement is getting real big. So let's find some leaders amongst y'all to say to y'all, y'all want to go to Mexico? We have some land for y'all. Y'all want to go to Jamaica? Y'all want to go wherever? You know, that's what it would be like. All right, who worked with Negro sellouts to assist them at political assault in order to attempt to deal with the Negro problem. So here's how it happened. I'll read the record. January 15th, 1817, James Forten, right here, and other black leaders, this is Absalom Jones and Richard Allen. If you're from Philly, you know Richard Allen because the projects is named after him, Richard Allen Projects. Right down by Timothy. All right, called the meeting at Bethel. All right, this is on South Street. This church is on South Street, or right off of South Street, to discuss the American Colonization Society and the idea of colonization. Almost 3,000 black men packed the church. The major and prominent black leaders, Forten, Allen, and John Rochester and Jones, were in favor of immigrating to Africa. Now, none of them ever went to Africa, but they were trying to get other people to go. Keep that in mind. However, when
never went to Africa, but was wanting everybody else to go. Sound like some trickery.
Forten called for those in favor because they voted.
Sound like some trickery.
And John Rochester were in favor of immigrating to Africa. Now, none of them ever went to Africa, but they were trying to get other people to go. Keep that in mind. However, when Forten called for those in favor, because they voted to get a test, yea, not a single word was heard. When he called for those opposed, one tremendous no rang out that seemed as it would bring down the walls of the building. As Forten wrote to Paul Cuffey was a famous person during that time. His father was from Africa, and his mother was from here. Right? So Paul Cuffey was doing trade and business, with West Africa. And Forten is telling Paul Cuffey in January that there was not one soul that was in favor of going to Africa. Now, do not take it under the context that our people were as silly as some of our people are now, right? No internet, no TV, not a lot of distractions. People who were in home environments, they made things that they lived to produce. They produced a lot of things. They did a lot of reading. The people who were well off were aware, much more aware than we think they were aware. Okay, so I'm saying that to say some people might say, "Well, this was slavery. Of course, they're going to be against going to Africa." No, slow down for a second. You have to understand the demographic of
and that's why I'm saying this. That's why the whole Pan-Africanism movement is dead. The Pan-African movement is dead. Don't forget, man. March 31st, this up and coming Friday. Don't forget to get your motherfucking pay-per-view tickets, man. The link is going to be in the video at the end of this live stream. It'll be in the live streams for the rest of the week. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets, man. I'm going to play the trailer for the up-and-coming pay-per-view. Here, Sister Betty, Sister Soul, Unconscious One, Aboriginal Power, Pan-African is dead, the pay-per-view. Y'all gonna want to get that. So yeah, man, make sure y'all check that out, man. That's one of those ones, man. Y'all gonna want to be there to check that out. Make sure y'all get y'all tickets. It's going down. Pan Africanism is dead. The pay-per-view, March 31st. Get your tickets.
And I'm going to help you understand it and show you why these three were used. These are all preachers. All right. So what happened? All right. So in this book, Memoirs of Reverend Robert Finley. All right. So these are the direct diaries and memoirs of this preacher whose wife, I'm about to show you his picture, who these three met with. So they met with him 2 days before they met with the group that I just told you, before they met with their own people.
Yeah, before they met with the 3,000 black people, asking them, do they want to go back to Africa? 2 days before that, like I told y'all in the debate, Absalom Jones, Paul Cuffey, and James 14 met up at a church with Robert Finley. He's the founder of the American Colonization Society.
In secret.
I exposed this during my debate.
And it's in this book on pages 99 through 102, Memoirs of Reverend Robert Finley by Isaac Brown. So that's your source. All right. All right. He stated Allen, Ford, and Absalom Jones all spoke in favor of colonization, but were rebuked by the vast majority of free blacks. All right. Richard Allen, James Ford spoke warmly of colonization and were animated by the subject in their meeting with Finley early in 1817. All right.
Meeting with who? Robert Finley, bro. Like when I debated Rob on, was nothing for him to do. It's over with. So he won. Any nigga saying he won is an agent, bro. That means you don't give a fuck that Pan Africanism came from the white man. Cause that's what I exposed. That's what I exposed. I can't wait till that motherfucking debate drop.
Richard Allen, James Ford spoke warmly of colonization and were animated by the subject in their meeting with Finley early in 1817. All right. This is another source, Providence and the Invention of the United States. Okay, by Nicholas Gewat, page 204. He mentions the same meeting. So there's several sightings of the meeting. So let's take a look at who was in it. Well, let's take a look at who called the meeting. This is a painting of him. I don't have a picture of him. But Robert Finley was a Presbyterian minister and professor. All right, he was briefly.
I'm about to get into this. Shout out to Roger W. Roger W. for the Cash App donation. We appreciate that, brother Roger. I ain't even gonna lie. Roger donate down there every time I go live, y'all. Y'all can't let Roger be the only one support the channel today. This brother go support me every day. Shout out to motherfucking Roger, man. We really appreciate that, bro. Real talk. It don't go unnoticed, bro. You support down there every day, bro. We appreciate the support, bro. Real talk. Shout out to Robert, man. I mean, Roger W. Don't let Roger be the only one to support the channel, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all support the channel. But yeah, we about to expose this American colonization, Pan-African movement, and them meeting up with the white boy who told them about going back to Africa. Robert Finley. Let's get it.
Robert Finley. This is a painting of him. I don't have a picture of him. But Robert Finley was a Presbyterian minister and professor. He was briefly the president of the University of Georgia for some time. Finley was born in Princeton, New Jersey, and graduated from Princeton at the age of 15. He taught at several places, including Charleston, South Carolina. Slave home, the home of slaves. Charleston, South Carolina is where Dylan Roof shot 9 of our people in that massacre, and then they took them to get cheeseburgers. All right? You need to understand that demographic. Who else was on the American Colonization Society? George Washington's nephew. Bush Washington.
Didn't I just tell y'all Bush Rod? Listen, everything that he's breaking down right now, and I just seen this debate. I just seen this not too long ago. Somebody sent it to me like, yo, he broke down everything that you did in your debate. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because that's the angle that you got to take on these niggas, bro. That's the angle you got to take on these niggas, bro. And not only that, I exposed that one of their famous leaders, Prince Hall's son, Promise Hall, who they also look up to, was a homosexual. Man, he was screwing George Washington, man. So I broke all this shit down. Y'all mean to tell me that Pan-Africans won that debate, bro? It's over with, bro. Bro, it's over with. That's what I'm saying. Wait, everything he's breaking down is exactly what I broke down in my debate, y'all. How many of y'all was in the debate know this? Y'all know that's what I broke down, man.
that demographic.
He was on
Who
limited
else was
time.
on the American Colonization Society? George Washington's nephew. Which one, Washington? Who was what? Nephew was on.
I told y'all that Bushrod Washington played an essential part in American Colonization Society. It's two founders, a founder and a co-founder. One is Robert Finley, that's who Paul Cuffey, James 14, Absalom Jones hooked up with 2 days before they called that meeting at the Presbyterian Church, right? You see what I'm saying? And then you got Bushrod Washington, nephew of George Washington. George Washington get acquainted with another black Mason who was pushing this African movement as well, called the Negro Lodge. Then later changed to the African Lodge. But before that, it was called the African Lodge, it was called the Ethiopian Lodge. So it's a lot of shit in here, man. We're talking about these Pan-Africans, this pro-black movement, these sellout Negroes, these indigenous Aborigines who was compromised by the apostolic authorities is who they use. The church did this.
It's on the American Colonization Society. George Washington's nephew. Which one, Washington? Who was what? A Supreme Court justice. All right, that's number 2.
Hey, how many people was in the debate? If you was in a debate with me and Rob Bourne, drop a fire emoji if y'all already seen me drop this shit during the debate. If y'all seen the debate with me and Rob Bourne, drop a fire emoji if y'all seen me display the same information. Maybe a little more with the slides.
He was the president of the American Colonization Society, a Supreme Court justice. Keep that in mind. Trying to get our people out of here. All right. So you got 1, you got 2 with Finley. Who else was a part of this American Colonization Society? Oops. Gotcha. The person who's in the news everywhere now, right? Colin Kaepernick has this guy all in the news because he wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
James Monroe wrote the Star Spangled Banner. Francis Scott Keys. Excuse me. Francis Scott Keys wrote the Pledge of Allegiance and shit. The Star Spangled Banner. And they don't never speak the last verse where it tells you that America is the land of the whites and Africa is the land for the blacks. So they was the ones talking about this black African shit. This was not a custom by Negroes at the time. It was uttered by Francis Scott Key West, who was a racist slave owner who wrote that Star Spangled Banner song, man. Go look it up. Look it up. I presented this in my debate.
Well, he wrote the poem and then he wrote the Star Spangled Banner, right? So he's a district attorney, all right? See how we get to jump? I was trying to tell people this 8 years ago. What this dude was about. All right, look. So he was a lawyer, author, whatever. He wrote the national anthem. Francis Scott Key. He's in the news everywhere now. He was one of the founders. Guy number 3, all right? James Monroe. You ever hear the Monroe Doctrine? Okay. Manifest Destiny, all that stuff. All right. This is the 5th president.
Right, James Monroe. He took
by acquisition of Florida.
He took the doctrine of discovery and turned it into what we call manifest destiny, applying the tactics and apostolic authorities through what we call, man, this shit deep, man. This shit deep, bro. Like, that's why I say, bro, I smoked the nigga with 10-minute rounds. If I had 15-minute rounds, I could have just swagged out on the nigga, you know what I'm saying? Just got into a whole nother bag, real.
Florida. How did they get Florida? All right, so Florida then was lower part of South Carolina, most of Georgia, all of what's Florida now, lower parts of Alabama. It was a whole area that they were fighting indigenous people. Seminole Wars. Right? When you hear the Seminole Wars, if you read this book, the war generals said the Seminoles were Negroes. The way to put it. Right. So when it says he took Florida, you need to understand the history of what's being said here and why he was a part of wanting to get free blacks out. So we get some context. Look at him. He looks like he's dead. Henry Clay. He looks like Clay. They just like they just propped him up. Like, yo, let's take a picture. Secretary of State. Look at these political figures now. All right? All wanting our folks who are free out.
To go back.
Daniel Webster. All right? Cousin of who? Noah. The dictionary, Webster's dictionary. Right? So these are the high influential people. All right?
So, like he said, Robert Finley, Francis Scott Keys, Bushrod Washington, James Monroe, all these people was the 5 principal foundations of the Back to Africa movement. And it's in fact that we have documented records that Absalom Jones, Paul Cuffey, and James 14 went to one of the guys who started this conversation, Robert Finley. Robert Finley was a Zionist Mason who also ran a Presbyterian church. And Absalom Jones, Paul Cuffey, James 14 met up at his church 2 days before calling the American colonization meeting, asking them, do they want to go back to Africa? And we already got the letters from James 14 to Paul Cuffey, because Paul Cuffey didn't get to make it to that event that was 2 days later. Paul Cuffey was not there. James 14 was there. Absalom Jones was there. These people were eugenicists. These people was under the apostolistic authorities, foreign religion relations. So all these pro-black black Africans, Paul Cuffey, these was church boys. These wasn't revolutionary soldiers. They was little boys that was touched, and they was trying to trick and swindle the free Negroes in the area. And it was about 3,000 that packed into that church. There was a lot of free Negroes. They was trying to tell free Negroes to go to Africa, yo. And when they asked them in that church, 3,000 people asked them, nobody said yay that they wanted to go. So it's already been edible that our people was swindled, but they wasn't that goddamn dumb.
And the most famous, Andrew Jackson. He's the one who really chopped down the cherry tree in Florida. It was Monroe who sent him into Florida with Duncan Clinch to take that fort in Pelecaha, Florida, that was held by a black chief. So these are the 7 men that got together, formed this business, and said, let's get these niggas out of here. Because if we don't get the most influential of them out of here, what's going to happen is this interaction between them is going to create a problem. One of the things that's very popular during this period, right, which is kind of not talked about in literature unless you get some really rare literature, is that free blacks would buy enslaved blacks to free them, to manumit them. They were purchasing.
Manumission. That's what they did, manumission. So when you find Indians owning slaves and shit like that, these was intermissions. These was keeping they motherfucking from getting caught up in this rapid trade that was going on. So these are your principles. The 5 great white men who laid down the Back to Africa movement, who told you that you was African, who told you that Africa was the land of the blacks. These come from white men. How do we know? Because it's documented. They were saying it before any of these Paul Cuffeys, any of these Absalom Jones, any of these James 14s. And you got to working directly with these people that directly created the American Colonization Society. And we know Negroes was attached to that very much well. And we got Robert Finley being the founder, white boy. That's the church that they met up. Remember, that's the church that we just met up. You're going to keep hearing his name. Robert Finley, Bushrod Washington, nephew of George Washington. They're playing the Mason eugenics apostolistic authorities, man. So let's continue breaking down this whole Pan-African ideology and how that Pan-Africans are not uttering and talking true black people's revolution. They talking what the white man saying. They're only parroting, regurgitating what the white man has conditioned them to say.
They could purchase slaves, right? And so that's a big issue in antebellum South. Because there was a problem. There was anger about that. And many free blacks ended up getting missing, losing their life, lynchings, all that stuff, because they didn't want that happening. So this is the context that I'm mentioning, an attempt to make Black people go back to Africa. Because there's a lot in what I'm saying right now. One of the things I can highlight is with Monroe and Andrew Jackson, they knew that many of the Blacks weren't from Africa. So they invaded another indigenous territory using our people so that they could solve two problems. They can invade Africa and they could get our people out. Because they had already started invasions in Africa under Thomas Jefferson. So this is like how they're working. This is all this, right?
Right. So they use free Negroes from America and be like, yo, go back to Africa. We need you to help colonize. They get agreed to it. Boom. So we didn't took niggas off their land. So now we can swoop up land. Now, in the double decker is now we got these free Negroes to colonize another area that we're trying to take over. You see what I'm saying? They ran the okie doke. All because of this ACS, man. This American colonization shit laid down by the white boys. Robert Finley and Bushrod Washington.
Right here. You know, how can you steal energy from people by getting them to agree to something that's against their best interests? So I'm mentioning this in context because when we come to Pan-Africanism, let's jump past Blyden, past Mr. Garvey. Mr. Garvey had 6 million people, was doing very influential things. Let's come to 2016. No, wait, before we come to 2016, let's back up a little bit. Let's go to the 50s and 60s. All right, so 50s and 60s, first of all, riots, this is before civil rights. Riots during Jim Crow, which led to civil rights and other Black power organizations, is what inspired African nations to seek their independence. Black people here. And it was the invention of the television and radio that started bringing news internationally of what was actually happening here. So the technology, once they saw on TV, dogs and fighting and rioting, they were like, what the hell is going on in America? Oh, they're rebelling against the oppression. So you saw the same thing started happening in Africa. They started rebelling against the French oppression and the Italian oppression, and you got Haile Selassie in Ethiopia, and you got all these things, the wheels started turning, okay? And so what did this develop into? This developed into Africans wanting to develop their own body politics and states, which they did, right? But John Henrik Clarke says something very phenomenal. And I'm not quoting him exactly, but I have this exact quote somewhere on my computer. But he basically said, all the African nations who went for independence did not form any African-style governments. They were all European in style. And they are. They're on French currency or British currency or whatever, and they're all under the parasite syndrome. Let me show you how bad they are under the parasite syndrome. Show you how bad they are, right? Let me show you how the thinking has changed, the diet, everything's changed. 3 months ago, now, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, Ghana had record floods. There was flooding everywhere in Ghana for whatever purpose. They had a fund of $756 million, right? That was supposed to be used for national relief, right? And I showed this already in PowerPoints and presentations. All the money got stolen. Some kind of way the money disappeared in the fund. Now you gotta recognize that how they're getting this money. First of all, they're under the International Monetary Fund, right? So just like here, money moves by book ledger, computer entry. So somebody could tap that and move it over into an account. That happened. So those people didn't get a lot of relief. Not only that, this is documented too, the second thing I'm about to say. The African Union website, which is talking about everything that's going on in Africa, did not have one article on their website about the Ghanaian floods and their own brothers and sisters who were dying. So, I'm not against traveling to Africa. I'm not against people going on tours. I'm not against people even moving back. Some people expatriate and go to Ghana and other places or whatever. But let me enlighten you that just like here, you're going to be around parasites. This is a global problem, right? So you can't run, right? We need to leave America and go where? Go where? I'm going to Jamaica. Okay, go ahead. You'll see the Queen's face on the money. It's still a part of the colonial, whatever she has, all right? Commonwealth of Nations, all right? And so what I'm saying is that we have a global problem. Let's look at it as a global problem, right? So if the 50s and 60s, they styled their governments after Europeans, I have to say this, let's go back to psycholinguistic programming. Have to do this, right? Because the brain is super smart. The subconscious brain is really, really smart. It can psycholinguistic programming. Say this, let's go back to psycholinguistic programming. Have to do this, right? Linguistic programming. To say this, back to psycholinguistic programming. Have to do this, right? Because the brain is super smart. The subconscious brain is really, really smart. It carries a lot of memory. And so when you use a word, words, I don't care what language you're using. There's no such thing as a bad language. There's only not knowing what's being said. Right? We need to speak another language. Why speak another language and not know what's being said and still be done? You can learn ancient Egyptian, you can learn Swahili, you can learn. If you don't know what's being said, it doesn't matter. So, what is being said with this word first? Because what is being said with the word is what happened all the way up to 2016. Let me help you. This is not a joke. I'm not being funny. What does the word pan mean? If you look it up in the dictionary, when you first look it up, it's going to say this, all. It means all, like a group, right? But then when you go to the etymology in the Latin and in the Greek, the word is going to stay the same, pan. But pan is going to turn into a Greco-Roman god. Right? And what is Pan the Greco-Roman god of? Orgies, illicit sexual activity. He has a goat's head, right? And he's having sex with men, but sodomizing them. Sodomizing them. So now, think about what's happening to Black leadership just in Africa. It's been sodomized, right? The act of sodomy is an attempt to take away your manhood. That's what it is, right? And so the social and political sodomy is we're going to take away your autonomy, right? That's what's happening.
And they did that. They took away these boys' manhood through the church. And that's why the church is known for doing pedophilia. They take away these people's manhood. That's what they talking about. Go and look up what happened with Promise Hall and George Washington. And you're going to question and scratch your head. It's a knee slapper. Because you're going to figure out that they slept in the bed together up under the same cover. On some weird shit, bro. Straight up.
And so when you look throughout countries who will steal money from their own people, when traditionally they're not that type of people, they're under parasite syndrome. Their thinking has been co-opted by other people, right? Their natural thinking. And then we come to this word. We know from the book that we have. African comes from Romans. It means to partition or divide.
Hey man, we got 147 in here though. Shout out to everybody that's in the building, but we looking light on the likes, man. We got some heat. This build ain't even got heated up yet, but we need y'all to get these likes up though. We looking shabby. We got 141 people in here and 47 and 97 likes. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. I appreciate everybody for tapping in. I don't know why they playing with the algorithms neither. So if I can get y'all to politely, respectfully share the live stream, thumb up the video. You know what I'm saying? If you're new, subscribe, man. You're going to want to stick around. We're breaking down this whole Pan-African paradigm. And this ain't even, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all got to get that pay-per-view. Pan-Africanism is dead. March 31st is going down. March 31st. 9 o'clock p.m. It's going down. Y'all gonna want to be there for this. As a matter of fact, it's going down 8 p.m. Excuse me, 8 p.m. and it's starting on time at 8. Y'all gonna want to be there for this. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to y'all, man. Let's get y'all vibrations up, man. Shout out to the Aborigines, man. If y'all are proud, outstanding, standing on business, American business, whether it's American Indian, American Aborigine, or whatever American title that's dealing with your lineage here, man, drop a fire emoji, man. This American business, bro. Straight up. Let's get a few people to support the channel. We had Roger W support the channel, and we also got Ricardo D. He always support the channel as well. Shout out to Ricardo D for the $5 Cash App donation. We really appreciate that. Shout out to Ricardo D. We appreciate that. Shout out to Roger W and Ricardo D. We almost up on likes too. We got 145 in here. We got 115 likes. We just lacking 30 more likes. All we need is 30 more people to hit the likes. Probably 30 haters. Shout out to you guys. Peace and blessings to you.
Because that's what happened when they created this Africanus Proconsularis, which was a Roman colony after they defeated Punic civilizations, the blacks who were in North Africa, under the Punic civilizations, Hannibal, all those people. They named this little small area that's near Tunisia, Africanus Proconsularis, and put a Roman consul there, right? It means to partition, this way. All right, so now we're dealing with a God that takes your manhood and then separates you. That's pretty easy. We got it. So now let's look at the revival of Pan-Africanism here, because young people are RBGing it up, right? Which is cool. We're RBGing it up, right? Red, black, and green. All right? You know, black power. You know, all of that, right? Here's the problem with it. What is the economic system? What is it? What is it? It's capitalism. It's the default. You have to go to set the default, but it's capitalism because we are in America. It's capitalism. There's no textbook on Pan-African economic ideology. Where is it? If all the African nations, not all of them, most of them, there's only 2 that are under the IMF and using European currency or a subset of it by using the IMF as default, what's the excuse? Let me put this in perspective. We argue about getting land and buying land. Imagine being in a place where black people own all land, right? And you still have white people extracting the resources. That means the problem is psychological. It's a psychological problem.
Africans own all their land.
It doesn't make sense to go to Tanzania or to go to wherever you're going to go, and you know other people are ruling. Like, why are they ruling? As a matter of fact, we're the majority as far as numbers. If we wanted to fight, like, yo, let's roll on everybody. Who against who? All right, so there's a problem. And the problem, I have to say this and pay attention, please. The problem on our side is the result of a plan on their side. That part needs to be understood because many of us think things are just happening. It's not just happening. So let's go back to right at the beginning of this conversation. What did I say? What can you do? Little old me, Ali, what can I do? All right. So first of all, if we are assessing the parasite syndrome, we're essentially saying you need to engage mentally another model of thinking. That's it. Because all these extractions of behavior come from a common theme, right? And they come from a common entity, type of entity in nature. And so now we have to type things based on what they are. Because if we don't type things based on what they are, we have a problem. Then we'll be guided by dysfunctional emotions as a method to handling life, right? That means your signals of cross, right? So what is a parasite? What does a parasite do? It sucks away resources. It feeds off of the healthy. Why doesn't it feed off of itself? Like, why doesn't it? Okay, let me give you an example. Let's use some examples. I try to use examples that can give you some context. All right. So, cancer, a cancer cell. What is a cancer cell? What is the cancer cell? Say it again. Thank you. Beautiful. Mutation of an original cell. Oh, yes, that's beautiful. Original cell. So, how does a mutation happen in a cell? What do you do? What do you need to do to a cell? Say it again. Okay, so now the organism starts to take in something that changes its energy. Absolute diet. What do you need? Put it in your mouth. And you only put it in your mouth because your brain believes it, so your thought. So thought, behavior, activity. That's where we go. Okay. So now, if we want to change the problem with the energy, we have to change the thought. Because that's where the energy is operating in the person. Really simple, right? So, African Americans right now who practice Pan-Africanism, here's my question to you. Where is your body politic that we can go to learn the system to improve the quality and the character of the community at a pace that's bigger than the depleting of the community? Where can we go? Where do we sign up? Is it online? Is there a website? Do we go to a place and register? Can we go, where do we go? Nowhere. It's just like asking this. Where do we go to get saved? And somebody would say, well, it's a whole bunch of places. You go to church. Right? Well, this church is Pentecostal. This one is Baptist. This one is, which one do I go to that's real? Well, they're not real because we're Jehovah's Witnesses, and that's the Catholics, we're the original, and they're going to all argue. Right? But they all follow Jesus. How are you arguing? Everybody should just be following Jesus' word. So something happened, right, in the communication. So what happened in the communication? You have people who are here now who are talking about a historical event, who are telling you the best way to do something. They're giving you a method, right? Okay, great. So now, if we want to be Black Power or Pan-African, where do we go? Black Panthers, Nation of Islam. Where do we go? We go to Sonetta TV, New Covenant. Where do we go? Where do we go? Which one? I mean, I don't know. Y'all got to tell me. Where do you go to become a member of Pan-Africanism? No, you go to different ones, just like the church, right? And so, let's say, just like Jesus, they have Garvey. So they have a common person or ideological figure, but then they're all confused. And sometimes they're fighting each other. Sometimes they don't agree with each other. Sometimes, this one is. It's confusion. Now, somebody might say, well, we don't need to go nowhere. We just need to figure out how to solve our own problems because we don't need leaders. Okay, great. Now, if we don't need leadership, we don't need organizations, we don't need these problems, then the problems do exist as a result of institutions. The institutions are things that are propelling the problems. The school is propelling a part of the problem. Okay? The political structure is propelling a part of the problem. So if we're not going to form alternative institutions, that means we're going to stay home and go to those institutions. It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, then let's go back to cancer. We got how cells mutated. We're not going through all technical data, but the energy has changed through thought, behavior, diet, and all these things. But now the cancer cell is existing. It's in the body now, right? And so what is the cancer cell going to do? It's going to use a part of its mutated self to share with other cells to get them to go cancerous too. And so now the thought has to continue to poison yourself, the behavior to die. Everything has to continue in order for the cancer to proliferate, right? So I'll give you an example. Healthy cell right here, cancer cell over here. All right. Cancer cells have little enzymes and things. They send some enzymes over. The enzymes come over. You know what they do? They're doing what everything else is doing. You got hormones entering in and out of the cell. You got all kinds of activity. You know what they do? They come and knock at the door and act like there's something that they're not, to get past the cell membrane.
He's breaking down how cancer operates, and when you compare it metaphorically to how the Pan-African community infiltrated the Aboriginal culture, it did exactly how a cancer cell attacks. God damn, this is a good presentation. Shout out to Dr. Ali, Mom.
For the cancer to proliferate, right? So I'll give you an example. Healthy cell right here, cancer cell over here. All right. Cancer cells have little enzymes and things. They send some enzymes over. The enzymes come over. You know what they do? They're doing what everything else is doing. You got hormones entering in and out of the cell. You got all kinds of activity. You know what they do? They come and knock at the door and act like there's something that they're not, to get past the cell membrane. Now, if the cell is healthy, it's going to pick up alert. Something's coming. But if the cell is weak or it's receiving confusing communication from the brain, it can let this guy in. So how do you get confusing communication from the brain? Stress. That's how you scramble all brain activity. Stress. Right. Stress. And so now when you're stressed, you're depressed, you're angry, your cells are not communicating with the brain, right? They're localized and they're shut down. How do we know this? Because when you get cortisol secreted in the brain, it shuts down. It goes through, something happens called, let's put the technical term, vasoconstriction. Now you heard me say this. I have to say this. Sometimes people think I'm crazy when I say this. When the body is stressed, the body thinks it's about to die. I don't care what feeling that you're having. The body thinks, the cells in the brain respond as if you're about to die or you're in danger to die. So it does things to keep you alive for temporal.
Yeah, it's called fight or flight mechanisms kick in. For instance, if you're you ever seen an animal out and about, for those that's been hunting or been out and startled the animal, the first thing they do in fight or flight is either they take off running or they stay still. Being still is a direct indicator that the brain is recollecting flight or fight. You understand what I'm saying? So it's certain chemical components that go into your mechanism when it comes to fear, happiness, and other triggers. This is alchemy based.
Periods of time. And so vasoconstriction is, it takes blood from other parts of the body to put it in major organs in case something happens, right? In the gut, in the heart, in the liver, those isolate. And so other parts of the body, right,
and what did it do? Your glands will get triggered. It'll start putting it'll start putting glands and doing different shit instead of you sweating. When you know how you get nervous most of the time and some shit happen and you under pressure, you notice how you sweat. They always show the sweat dripping when somebody in a very pressurized situation and their mouth is usually dry. That's fight or flight. Your body chemically induces and produces certain moistures in certain areas because of fight or flight. When your body is sweaty and moisture, it's hard to grab a hold. This is fight or flight. That's why your mouth becomes dry. It's a whole science behind it.
The vascular system tightens down and clenches. So nothing is going to
flow
that much.
You have to have TV.
And so this activity shuts down communication from vascular system, circulatory system, lymphatic system, nervous system. All right, these systems are all shutting down, communicating with these cells. These cells are by themselves now. That's what I'm trying to show you. Until the stress can remove, and stress is usually removed through taking a nap, going to sleep, relaxing, breathing. I don't know, whatever you're going to do. When this cell is by itself, it's vulnerable. That's what I'm trying to say. Or when groups of cells are by themselves and they're not communicating with their brain, they're vulnerable. This is the Black community. Where's the brain in the Black community?
Facts.
Where's the brain? Right. The brain is supposed to be some type of body that we can go to that supports our existence. We don't have a brain. All right. So let's say we do. In the body, when the body doesn't have a functional brain, what do we say the body is in?
A coma.
You're in a coma. And when you're in a coma, you're in a state of sleep. Right. Approaching death.
Yep, when the body is in a coma, ain't got no brain activity, nigga. Guess what? You Pan-Africans think you woke. Inside your mind, you might think you woke, but there's no brain activity inside of your community. Y'all in a coma. Y'all alive, but you're in a coma. Pan-Africans is in a coma, and we're going to finally take them off of we're going to unplug the plug, you guys. March 31st.
You're in a coma. And when you're in a coma, you're in a state of sleep. Approaching death. That's our community, right? And so now, what is Arna saying? Arna's saying, like, listen, y'all want to be the brain? We're going to be the brain. We're going to be the brain. There's no brain. Where's the brain? If there's a brain, show it to us. Because there's a brain. The brain is communicating to all the systems. It's communicating to the lungs, and the lungs are communicating back. It's communicating to the lymphatic system, and the lymphatic system is communicating back. It's communicating to the skin, and the skin is communicating back. And each of these areas, systems in the body, is an institution. Right? It's an institution. So I'll give you an idea how foolish we are. We start isolated cell networks. You start a Pan-African school with no brain. That's a cell with no brain.
Think about it. He's breaking it down systematically on a micro scale and on a macro scale. Shout out to Dr. Ali Muhammad, man. We got 139 people in here right now currently. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. If you are enjoying this live stream, I need y'all to drop a fire emoji in the chat. Please drop a fire emoji in the chat if you can see and hear everything. That let me know that everything is crispy on you guys' end. Shout out to all the family that's in the building. Drop a fire emoji if you are enjoying this live stream. I do want to say shout out to everybody that's in the building. Make sure you share the live stream, you guys. Share the live stream. Put it on your social medias. Tag me. Big Aboriginal Power on Instagram. Aboriginal Power on Twitter. Make sure y'all follow me. Also, if you're enjoying the live stream, support the channel. Shout out to Sister Curl for the $25 cash app donation. Shout out to Sister Curl for the $25 cash app donation. We appreciate that. Shout out to Sister Curl. We really appreciate that. We appreciate all the support. You understand me? Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. How many of you guys ready for that March 31st Pay-per-view, man. We unplugging the plug. Pan-Africanism is dead. The pay-per-view, man, there's gonna be a lot of information getting to the facts of who we are and how this whole African paradigm came upon our people. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Real recognize real. So Roy, I see you. Fresh one, what's up? I see you. Luero. Joshua. Greatest champ. What up with it, Brody? Hardline boss. What up with it, bro? Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. Make sure y'all share this on all y'all TikToks too, man. Share this shit on TikTok. Yeah, share this shit on TikTok. Tag me in it. Aboriginal Power. Tag me in it. At me. You know what I'm saying? However TikTok work. Get me cracking around that motherfucker. Shout out to Reginald Jones in the building. Garfield. Rule. What's going on, bro? Good to see everybody in here, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Shout out to Sister Carl once again. Don't let Sister Carl be the only one to support the channel, brothers. Sisters, don't let Sister Carl be the only one, man. Let's get to it, man. Let's continue this conversation. He's breaking it down.
It's an institution. So I'll give you an idea how foolish we are. We start isolated cell networks. You start a Pan-African school with no brain. That's a cell with no brain. And so you register the school in the cancerous municipality as a business, right? And now the cell is tied to all of the cancer network. IRS, the Secretary of State, all the entities that's going to zap all his resources out, right? And so a black business usually dies in 3 years. That's the cycle. 3 years, boom, you're done, right? Because you don't know how to get money, so you got the parasite syndrome, so you look for a small business loan, try to get some money or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that, right? If you can get some access to some funds. But your strategy is the problem. How you use energy when you get it. That's the problem. Okay, so everybody get these little concepts, because I don't want to skip from concepts if you're not getting what I'm saying. My point is, if you are black people stay isolated in their homes, living in like caves without a brain, they're like isolated cells waiting on cancer to get them. And so you're isolated, you're waiting on student loan people, IRS, the court case, tickets, stress from your relationship. They're all cancerous entities you're interfacing with, and the cells are going to collapse, even if you're trying to stay healthy, because you don't have a brain. Right? You have a brain. And each cell itself is a brain, right? Because all the brain is a mass of cells. The only difference is it has a way of setting up a network to communicate back and forth. Because cells communicate back to brain just like the brain communicates back to cells. But what's the one thing they all have in common? The same DNA. Right? They have the same DNA. Right? Right? So why are you telling me we don't need an organization? It doesn't make sense based on nature. Anybody saying we don't need leadership, what they're saying is just live in the cancer. They don't even know they're saying that. They don't even know they're saying that. Just let the cancer proliferate. Right? Okay. So we got to get out of all of this. This is just Pan-Africanism. We can put anything on the board. But this is a popular one, so I put it on the board. Okay. So let me give you an example, right? Don't get mad at this example. I have to use what we've experienced as black people, right? So this is not bias. All right, you might say, "Oh, he's FOY." He can start talking about white mom. He knows he likes mom. No, I'm talking about it because something started happening. It collapsed, but something started happening because there were things being employed that was systematic. Okay, so let's put the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's movement up here, which was called the Nation of Islam. Right? Okay. So one of the things that's important about that movement at the time that it started is they developed the brain. They developed the brain. They considered themselves what? Separate and distinct. Ideologically, and they were doing it physically. And so here's the thing. Inside of here, your thought process had to change. Here, your thought process does not necessarily have to change. You can add thoughts, but it doesn't have to change. Because you can be Democratic and Pan-African. You could be a U.S. citizen and Pan-African. Elijah Muhammad at the time was saying, our people are not citizens. That's from his own mouth and his own books. And he said you have to change your thought. 1 meal a day, right? That's what they said. 1 meal a day. You couldn't eat all this stuff that you're eating 3 times a day. 1 meal a day. Right. Sister, you couldn't come outside with all your stuff showing. You gotta change that. Change the way you look. Brother, change the way you look. But come out with your muscle shirt on, trying to show everything. All right. You know, rules. They just set rules. Doesn't matter. They set rules. And so the rules gave a new brain. The brain said separate thought. Oh, the white man is the devil. Oh, we're not going to say that.
Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. If y'all enjoying the live stream, let me know, man. If y'all enjoying the live stream, let me know. Drop them fire.
Fighting Smith.
I might drop the link in the chat.
And wait till the fight comes. Football season is back up because Monday Night Football tonight. I don't want to watch Ali Muhammad because I want to watch the Monday night game. Next Sunday, well, you know, you get into this and you're zapping yourself. And there's nothing wrong with watching sports or whatever, but you don't have to be inebriated to watch it. Right. Okay. So my point is, how are you using this thought to create something? So let's come back to the ideological thought of Black leadership. The ideological thought of Black leadership is this. No joke, right? Everywhere you go in the Pan-African community, the same thing is happening. Black religious community, whatever. Look, this is how they. Okay, let's ask a question. Let's just be straight up. How are these groups making money? Because that's energy. How are they making money? Okay, if you're a Pan-African, whatever, how do you make money? Can you become a Pan-African doctor? A Pan-African lawyer, a Pan-African whatever? How do you make money? Okay, you either work a 9 to 5 and you do this as a hobby. This is your hobby. Because if it's not your 9 to 5, it's your hobby. Let's just stop playing. Because you're too tired to make it anything else. You don't have the energy. You just spent 8 hours doing something, so Pan-Africanism is your hobby. Black ideology, conscious community is your hobby. You do it on the weekend. Let's go. Let's have a debate. It's a hobby. And hobbies don't change institutional frameworks. Matter of fact, they release your output that require more money. So how they make money in it, if you got to put out money, is you make it into something that other people are interested in. You package it into an advertisement. So the advertisement today are lectures, seminars, whatever. Come to my lecture, pay $30. We're going to talk about something that we're not going to implement. We can't implement it because we don't know how to. So you can take some of the top leaders of Pan-African. What do? They go around and do lectures. And they report about what white people are doing to Black people, as if we don't already know. We can watch CNN, Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon to get that. But you have to have a system. So how do you you have to make this into a systematic brain. It's not a brain right now. It's not a brain. To do anything is not a brain. Because the people work for the parasite. And this is their hobby. There's no other way to look at it. Okay, so now, if we wanted to let's go further, because I don't want y'all.
He breaking down this pro-Black Pan-African ideology. They selling you a bunch of nothing muffin, a shit sandwich without the bread. And you niggas have been enjoying this shit sandwich without the bread. Shout out to Empress Summer Rain Amaru for the PayPal donation. We appreciate that. She said, big Aboriginal power appreciation for all you do for us. We appreciate you. I really appreciate you, sis. We appreciate the support, honestly. Shout out to Empress Summer Rain for the PayPal donation. We really appreciate that. But yeah, man, he's breaking down this motherfucking shit, man, right now as we speak, man. This whole Pan-African ideology.
Try to miss the point. All right. If you come to a lecture, you're giving your mind over to me right now, right? To hear what I have to say, right? So at the end, or by the end of it, you should get something valuable, right? Or at least directed to valuable activity. All of us, we're gonna leave here. This is like a point of congregation for a plan, and then we leave. And the plan, this is important. The plan, because we live in a society that does this, plans should be written down, or parts of it should be written down. So,
hey man, he dropping some heat in this video, man. This is a classic right here, man. If y'all have not supported the brother Ali Muhammad, man, make sure y'all go support the brother, man. Y'all gotta support the brother. He be dropping some heat. He be dropping some real heat. But we gonna get to some shit though. Let's get to it, man. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. Let's go. Drop them fire emojis. You can hear and see everything loud and clear.
Right, because that's what's happening. Our people are suffering from not having the thought processes and the systems that can get them out of the conditions that they're in. Not only that,
shout out to Empress Summer Rain. We appreciate you. Yep, I got that. I appreciate you, PayPal. I appreciate the PayPal donation, sis. We really appreciate that. We appreciate that.
That, right? So let's say you learn something, right? Let's say you learn something, because we all do this, right? You learn something, you try it a little bit, right? You find out it's good for you, right? What makes you go back to the bad thing? Habit, stress, convenience. There's another one that's really good. Come on, tell me. Fear. Oh, you said it. Yes, fear. Fear. Okay, now I got to be called real bias because I got to go to a gender to deal with the fear. Women, right? Women, all species of women in nature, even animals, seek security the most because they carry the life form, the new life form, to bring into existence, right? And I want you to please pay attention to me, please. Women are subconsciously and consciously made to think that men are stronger than them. And so they're afraid a lot and insecure. And so they start seeking security in what they subconsciously fear, which is men. It happens. Whether you pay attention to it or not, right? It's happening. And so you have to understand something about the psychology of that inside of Western thought. Because we can read about it. We can read about pharaohs. We can read about Mali and kingdoms or whatever. We can read and see, oh, this is fun. So whenever you have an indigenous civilization flourishing, it's because women are not afraid. That's one thing that you need to understand, right? Whenever you have a civilization, the indigenous civilizations are not flourishing, it's because the women are afraid, right? And so when you start talking consciousness and changing behavior, women are going to be the most fearful because they're most tied to the system of the parasite in some kind of way. You know, they're getting the support from the state, SNAP, WIC, welfare, children, whatever. I ain't trying to hear what you got to say, nigga, because you ain't doing nothing. They doing it. On the other side, brothers can't be mad at that because what she's saying is actually true. All right, so everybody got to balance what they do to provide, harmony for the situation. But I want to empower the women with some things that I'm about to say. So I'm focusing on you are made the most fearful to show you that you can also make the most change quietly too. You don't have to make a lot of noise with it. You can make it quietly and things can happen fast. Okay. So women, where do you get your money from? Let's just deal with energy. Because I'm using the term money because people understand what that means. Right? Where do you get your energy from? Get a job. Create services. You might have your own business or whatever. Okay, so back to the isolated cell concept, because I'm going to do something to blow your mind, and you can go research this, right? In the cell, what area is the energy factory? No. In the cell, in a human cell, what area is the energy factory? In a cell, inside of a cell. Because heart has cells, brain has cells. It's a part inside of the cell. Well, the electron is, but it's what? The mitochondria. Okay, so when you go back to biology, you can study this tonight. Go look at this is your homework assignment. Go look up mitochondria. Mitochondria. This is the part of the cell that does this thing. This is the term they use, ATP, energy processor. This is also the part of the cell that hands down what? Mitochondria what? From the who? Mother. So, check this out. No joke. I can't make this stuff up. How do the mitochondria produce all this energy? There are thousands of them, and they all work together. Got it? So, women are programmed in this society not to work together and to seek energy from the parasite services. So check it out. Let me help you out. Men can work together, right? And if the women aren't working together, it doesn't mean anything. Did you hear me? Right? It's nature. I didn't make this up. I can't make this up. The mitochondria produce energy for everything in the cell, including the nucleus. The nucleus is holding a part of the mother and the father. The mitochondria is only holding the mother. But it's producing all the energy. So, the task for women is the fear of working together. Now, why don't women work together? Because they've been programmed not to. That's as easy, right? But then what are the emotional intricacies, right? The emotional intricacies are status, competition, whether they have a man or not, because that becomes the issue whether somebody wants you around them or not. All these little issues, right? And what are they upholding? What is competition upholding? Comparison. That's all it is. What are you competing about? And what are you competing for? How you look? You see what I'm saying? Like, y'all not trying to see who got the most stylish afro. You ever seen women arguing about who got the best afro? I seen them arguing about who weave is the best though. Huh? Like, I heard it. I didn't hear that. I didn't think. You ever seen some women argue about some shoes that they made that were flats? No. I seen them arguing about who heels looked the best. Oh, whatever. So they're all arguing about what the parasite gave them to argue about. That's my point. When they're together and they're creative, they don't have anything to argue about because they're working together. And they're usually more creative. So, check this out. Standard woman in nuclear family. What is she protecting, right? What is she protecting? She thinks she's protecting her husband and her children, but she's really protecting white supremacy. Right? Let me help you. Before you go, let me help you. Because now I can use myself as an example, right? The man, all right, he's over here. He's in here. He's in here. What does the man want to do? All right? The man is like a little mini part of the brain too, so he wants to protect the cell. He wants to protect the cell. He wants to make sure nothing is going to come in the cell and mess up the cell. Right? And the woman wants the cell to flourish. But cells don't live alone, right? Cells don't live alone. So cells live in groups that we call organs. Okay? And the organs all have a function. So, how can I put this so you can get it? Okay, fear factor. Back to the fear factor. Fear factor and how you get rid of it. The process of producing children. All right, let's start there because then we can go all kinds of ways. Start there. The children that you don't have yet, and the children that you have right now who are under 13. Let's just deal with that. All right. Those children will shape the way that your community goes. Right? And so now let's talk about Arna, because we have the same brain. Because people who have the same brain, they don't have a chance. Sorry. I'm just going to leave them all the way out because they're a part of the Democratic parasite zone. And let me anchor that point. African-American children who are under democracy and capitalism can go to college, they can do a number of things, they can be successful. But they're successful under liberalistic white supremacy. And they will cater to the system that they believe gave them the opportunity. And psychologically, that will impose a certain thought process on them that will give them, please listen, stress to be included. So they have to suppress a part of their natural self to be a part of it and make it habitual so they fit in. And that stress has, problems on the neuroendocrine circuitry. And if you haven't heard my lectures on stress does two things. It shuts down your melanin and makes you gay. And there's a number of other things that it does, but those are two things that it does. Because it destroys a specific hormone that anchors gender, gonadotropin releasing hormone factor. When cortisol is being secreted, it knocks out GnRH. And this is why your children have a proclivity to be highly accepted of homosexuality, even if they're not, or participate in it. It's stress. All right? I could go more in that in another lecture. But my point is that I have to anchor this point as children are not getting a cultural, systematic design as indigenous children, you're losing them. You're going to lose them. All right? And so the only way you don't lose them, I got 6 children. I'm telling y'all, listen to me, right? When the children see women, especially little girls, right? I got 4 little girls. When they see older women, their mothers, whatever, working together and doing things, they get excited. They're so happy, right? They're so happy. And in the community, when the women are working together, more things get done. All right? That's the matriarchy. That's the matriarchy that you should be looking for. The false matriarchy is this superwoman, Wonder Woman, feminism that's a mask. It's actually, they're turning you gay. It's lesbianism. And so it's the time of the great mother. Okay. I hear you, but I don't hear you. Because I know what you're saying, right? But that's the clone. Because the idea is keep you isolated, not work together. So women, you have to get over those fears. You do that first through the children that you already have, your daughters. Do not train your daughters like you were trained. First, you have to recognize what you were trained that was wrong, then not train them. All right?
Hey man, he kicking some shit right here. Now this is probably one of my favorite part of the bills. Y'all been listening to the last 25 minutes of it. But he about to get into some more part of this information that I really indulge. I want y'all to listen closely. If y'all enjoying the bill, support the channel. We got 187 people in here, 187 family members. If y'all proud American Indians, proud Aborigines, proud Americans, drop those fire emojis in the chat. Let Big Original Power know that you can see and hear everything loud and clear. Shout out to all the American Aborigines in the building. Shout out to all the Aboriginal people global. Shout out to everybody, man. This is the Aboriginal uprise and awakening. So shout out to everybody that's in the building. Let's continue the live stream, man. Shout out to everybody.
If you're going to teach your children reading or whatever, read them birth charts. Get them familiar with the planets and energies so that they can start learning how to read energies and people. And they'll be interested. Okay, what's your birthday? You're a Gemini. Your moon is whatever. Get them in that kind of conversation because we teach them to read anything, right? Go pick up the book and then you got the green eggs and ham and whatever. Like, look, if they're 3, 4, don't read them that stuff. Read them something that they can read. And we can give you some literature, but read them things that will interest them in human psychology and energy. Right? So how you educate them is really big. And the new ones that you have, plan them. I say that again. Plan your children. If you have daughters, right, that are about to teach them to plan their children, because unplanned children create stress, right? So you got to change the psychology, and this all happens with the woman, right? She has to change all these fears. She induces her own fears by not planning her children, and the children that she has, she turns them over to white supremacy. She has to stop doing that. All right. And how you stop doing that is you learn to work with other women. So now, how are you going to work with other women? I'm going to give it to you. I'm about to show you. You need a business. See? You work in your job, you're not going to work with other women because you already work with other women. You work for your boss's wife. You're a mistress. A socio-political mistress. Let me make it plain. The owner of Home Depot, he has a wife. Right? He probably has some maids. He got children all over the place, right? Whoever he is. You work for the cash register. You work for his family. Got it? It might be something that you got to do temporarily, but you work for his family. You don't work for your own community, right? Until you start entrepreneurialism and creating something, right? And then when you start entrepreneurialism and you register an indigenous business that's not all plugged into something else, right? You have something that you're doing. And guess what you're going to need after you start doing something? You're going to need help because the business is going to grow because it's the idea. And as soon as the business starts to grow, other women who are doing something similar or might be doing nothing can come on and help you grow the creativity of your business. And as long as y'all are not eating chicken cheesesteaks, drinking like a fool, smoking weed, and y'all not going to fight. Right? Because everybody got the same DNA. All right? Everybody got the thought of we're here to grow, make this energy grow. Right? So we're not going to put anything in it that's bad. Right? Because you got a system now. All right? Let's just call it indigenous economics. You got a system now. That's checks and balances. So one, everybody needs a business. You need a business. Because if you have a business as a mother, I'm saying as a mother, you need a business and you need entrepreneurialism as a mother. That's also going to give you confidence that you don't have to depend on an opposer to your man, yourself, and your children for your well-being. Right? And so now that makes the cells come together. The cells come together because they all operate in business. And they're exchanging. If you don't have nothing to exchange, you got to go back to the birth charts, figure out why you're here, and rejuvenate the confidence. Right? Because it's there. Come on, man. Y'all got sisters, y'all got aunties, y'all got uncles, y'all got people to do business with. And you got people in this room, whoever y'all are that y'all close. Y'all need to do business. How do we, and then you set up sisterhoods. All right? Set up sisterhoods. And y'all talk to each other on a regular basis. Every few days, everybody's talking to each other. Talking is communicating. All right? And then you find out things when you talk. You know, you find out who has a resource and what. You're not talking enough. You have to talk. Well, you are talking enough, but maybe talking about things that you're not supposed to be talking about. Okay. And that's not good. So, y'all get what I'm saying? The women are made fearful. And if the women are fearful, there ain't nothing going nowhere. And if you are fearful to stay under white supremacy, you're going to bring your husband and your children with you and turn them over to other institutions. And stress is going to crumble the cell. That's why marriage is at an all-time low, right? Because white supremacy and liberalism is at an all-time high. Look, let me break it down to you. I got to give it to y'all straight. Brothers don't want to get married because they know the stress is coming. It's true. And neither do women. Women don't want to be stressed out. Nobody wants to be stressed out. So what? The expectation is marriage equals stress. And it does because your consciousness is telling you that we're supposed to know energies of people and things, and then the old way of choosing things.
Shout out to Dr. Ali Muhammad, man. He breaking some shit down right now, man. So shout out to him.
For Harlem, for original people to have good food, you got to go all the way down to 96th Street to Whole Foods, right? Okay. To get fresh, really good produce. So there's no food, no education. Y'all just made $50,000 Y'all can't take $10,000 as an investment to put a market somewhere on one of these open buildings? Y'all preachers. Niggas going buying cars with y'all money. They showing y'all online. Yeah, y'all seen it. Come on now, y'all seen it. I got the new joint, the new so-and-so, with y'all lecture money. Right? So let me tell you how Honor's not going to do that. What Honor's going to do is say, okay, we need businesses in our own community. Y'all say y'all want the so-called dollar to circulate. That's not even called the dollar. It's called a unit. It's energy. We want the energy to circulate. If you register a business with Honor or you become a jurist, you can become a jurist and you can start registering business that has nothing. You're doing that yourself, bringing money into your family, locally, and your community, right? So the idea is, if the energy was going to the Secretary of State in the municipality, make it all come back on to us. Not only that, train people how to start.
That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. He dropping some shit. I don't even know if I'm gonna get around to even dropping the link today. Shout out to Nike 903, man, for the $2 cash out donation. He said, man, they've been feeding us a shit sandwich without the bread. For sure, bro. They done gave you a good mayonnaise sandwich with a little turd on it, and they forgot to put the bread. And y'all niggas been enjoying that shit for years. Y'all done settled with it. Food loaf. You understand me? Shout out to Chief Crazy Overstanding for the $5 cash out donation as well. He said, keep applying that pressure. Keep on applying that pressure. And that's you too, man. You got to keep applying it with me, bro. We working in this motherfucker together, bro. On everything, bro. Y'all niggas help this shit just as much as I am. You know, y'all might see me every day. I see y'all niggas every day. So, you know, man, I know y'all doing the work. And we just got to turn it up. 2023, we organizing and mobiling the information, man. And so we got a lot of good shit in plan and works and already in the works. There's beautiful people in our community with lovely spirits that's doing shit for the community and for the Aboriginal people. Shout out to motherfuckers like A1, Chief Holiday, Sister Betty, Aboriginal TV. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to them. And I got some shits in the work too, but you know what I mean? We're gonna lay it down. But these motherfuckers, it's brothers in the Aboriginal community that's doing 10 times as much economically, social, politically, and spiritually in the communities more than what a Pan-African has ever done since 1920, since they have been around. They've been around, but what we have done within the last 10 years is what they have done within the last 100. So it speaks volumes already.
Businesses, right? Whether it's jurists, economic specialists, or individual nationals. So in this book, you learn how to do that. In the updated version, we got a way for you to do that. So we go all the way to the end of it. Let's see where we at. Okay, yeah. Boom. All right, so let's start here. Where we in the summit. We're talking about this. So you need a regular business for whatever you do, right? You need a family trust so that your family can deal with things. You need a family tax exemption business. Those are the three that you need, right? So 2 of them will probably be group, 1 of them be yourself. So everybody needs their own business for what they do, or the multiple things that they do. Might be 2 or 3. Then you need a tax exempt business. On page 219 of the Economic Bible, the updated version, we give you the form 8718, how you can get the determination letter to get a tax exempt business. You started in Honor, you got your IDs. Now this is something that you can use for communities, right? Pay a little fee or whatever, and see with a 501c3, they put you through this whole process where they want to see all your financials. For this one, you don't have to do nothing but articles, bylaws, EIN, pay the $400, you get a determination. What does that allow for you to do? You can put your property under tax exempt, under your trust or your tax exempt entity. You can put your cars, you can put your stuff under an indigenous entity. The law is going to protect you. You're cutting off the taxes. Okay? So I'll give you an example of some of the things that's happening now. I have someone who has a $4 million property, right? He pays $210,000 a year in property taxes. I'm telling him like, yo, look, I'm showing him stuff like, yo, you can save yourself. All right, so if you pay $210,000, if you stay there for 10 more years, you pay $2.1 million in taxes. right? Say it again. On land that's his. So what I'm trying to say to y'all as a people, and he wants to pay me $25,000 just to look at it. I was like, no, I'm cool. He's used to lawyers taking money from him. I don't need that. What I need you to do is do it, right? So you can tell your friends about it, right? Because then I can help my jurists get some revenue and share it properly, right? And so, but that's the thought process that we have to have, that our people who have wealth or poverty, bring them all together because they're all equal because they're both ignorant about how to survive. And they're all stressed out. Imagine being, y'all understand, you're in a $4 million house, right? You're a millionaire or whatever, but you got this bill coming. And in order to take care of the bill, you got lawyers that got another bill coming. And so you're stressed, which means you're sick. But poor people are calling you rich. I know you're not rich. You're not wealthy. You're sick. That's why you snorting coke. That's why you got the girls coming every 3 days, because that takes your stress down a little bit, allegedly. But then, one comes up in the house and then she gets you set up. That's happening to some brothers. It's all the same dysfunction, no matter whether you got a stack of Federal Reserve notes or none. Y'all need to our people need to get that through their head, what wealth is. It took me a little while to get it. I got it now. I got it. That's why I don't sweat people who have things that other people become groupies and sweat them for. Because I know they don't have their own sanity and peace. You can't replace that. You have to experience that to know it. You can't replace it. And so they need this too. So everybody can have a tax-exempt business that they share with their family. No property taxes, no sales taxes, no car taxes, no. Other people are doing this. Why won't you do it? The preacher's not going to tell you. The Pan-African's not going to tell you. None of these people are telling you how to get your energy back. Not only that, once you do it, how to share it with your family, because you got to have something to sell to your people because they used to market it. Don't be acting like all holier than thou, talking about you need to be righteous and indigenous. No, you want some property tax exemption? They want to hear that. You can reel them to the stuff.
I just have one question.
Yes.
Is the reason we have to file these forms?
We don't have to. Wait, I'm sorry.
Is the reason we have to file these forms because we use their notes?
No, because we don't have to use this to get tax exemption. I'm using this as a stair step to get to how I do it for some people. Secondly, a part of your answer is yes, because the IRS is banks. And so let me be clear about this so you know this and get it. When you see the letters IRS, that's a trust. That's a trust. And the trust is between the DOT, the Federal Reserve. These are the gangsters, because these people are not asking you to pay. Neither are these people. Who's really asking you to pay? I just put a list of them: J.P. Morgan, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs. They are the IRS. And in order to understand this, you need to understand the primary dealers to the Federal Reserve and the open market window. So a tax on the dollar, right, is the tax for use of the dollar in what? Commerce. And they control all the industries that you're using. Energy, housing, whatever. So yes, they are saying we are going to create a way to measure institutions. This is how they get data. They have access to data, the parasite network. All right. So what we're saying is, in this sense, 8718 is not a 501c3, it's a 501d. So I give you examples. Jewish synagogues, Amish, whatever, they use this one to do it. But a part of it is layers to pull back behavior. Because we're dealing with people who, they're children. So we got to make them walk a little bit and get confidence. So you are in the advanced class. So let's come over to the advanced class. What the advanced class look like is we have set institutions. We're circulating our own currency. There's no need to talk about taxes. Our energy then in that field can go to other discussions. Elevated structural development, right? So that's a body with no cancer. Right? So what do you do when the body is healthy and you're not focusing on getting rid of disease? You train the body to do things that are considered miraculous, right? Like telepathy, something. So that's that genre. We're talking about how we can do things inside of our own autonomy that have nothing to do with this parasite discussion. Because once you start dealing with your own currency and your own institutions, this discussion is not even present. You're talking about how do we protect and defend what we have with all the systems that we can use to protect and defend it, right? Okay. Everybody understand what I'm saying? All right, I want to be clear. The question that she entertained was, why are we using these forms, right? And these forms are ways and methods when you're inside of a cancerous body to decrease the cancer, right? But when we're less stressed and we have better formats, we can start doing better things, right? And we need to create bridges to do that. But we can't be afraid, you know. And a lot of us are afraid because of the feeling of a lack, right? And then we're getting real-time attack because if somebody says, pay this ticket, pay this property tax, pay this whatever, or else, we usually pay it because you don't have a method to try to implore, to try to create a barrier between you and that entity. So we create all these entities because these are fictions, right? And we're using fictions against fictions to let them fight or interact or whatever. It cancels out the charge, so inside of the cell, we cool. We just operating whatever. You know what I mean? So the body does this. We call them immune cells. What do immune cells do? They fight, right? And so I give you an example. A so-called T cell. A T cell, or a group of them, will come over to these cancer cells and actually ingest them. Like you can go online and look and see how T cells gobble up a cell. Then after they gobble up a cell, you know what they do? They take themselves through apoptosis and die and get out of the body through urine or feces. Kamikaze, right? And so what I'm saying is that we are creating entities that can block off enough so we can have less stress to develop something. And after a while, we won't even need those entities because we'll have other entities amongst our own circle that we're dealing with. You follow me? These are interface entities that we're creating. It's like a buffer zone. Right. So warfare requires symmetry and asymmetry. That's what we have to understand. All right. And we have to understand that all of these processes are taking place in us and around us. That's what we have to understand. Because sometimes you feel isolated from the discussion, like we have some type of theoretical model. No, this is happening in your body right now. Especially if you ate the cheese today. Because it was calling you. And so all we're saying is, look, check it out. Because I'm talking about a whole bunch of terms, and sometimes you're ingesting and sometimes you're not, right? Pay attention to the key thing. The key thing is figuring out how to get rid of this. So you know what I tell people to do? If we use words, just go home and study it. Go take 15 minutes out tomorrow, look up parasites. Look at how they work. That's going to inform you. You're going to get the information right. You're going to get it, and you're going to download in your brain. If now you're thinking against parasites, you got that in your brain. Like you're going to start kicking off certain thought processes subconsciously and consciously to get rid of this. But what I'm saying to my people who are watching here, and we got a whole bunch of people watching online, is stop letting Black leadership parasite off. Just put a plug on them. Watch what happens. All right? Just like we boycott Walmart and whatever, boycott Black erroneous leadership. Don't give them no money. Don't take no money to the religions, to the conscious folk or whoever. Don't take no money to them. Starve them. See what happens, right? The things that are good that are happening in your community, right? We should all give attention to establish the system. That's all we're asking. Because if the system is measurable, it can give an output. And so it's not theoretical. You either can execute the thing that somebody's saying or you can't. And that's going to do two things. It's going to get you in a position to do things that are good, and it's also going to remove fear. Because you're afraid. You know what I mean? You're afraid. Not you necessarily, but you know, what are you afraid of? I mean, just think about it for a second. Everybody just sit and think. Whatever you could possibly be afraid of. I don't know. Maybe your rent is late. Maybe somebody's trying to take your car for tickets. Maybe somebody's intimidated. I don't know. What are you afraid of them for? If the people are going to take your car, either they're going to try to take it or they're not. Sell it. You know what I mean? Move before they move. You have the infinite capacity to secure yourself. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Each one of us in here have the infinite capacity to secure ourselves. All we have to do is want to do it. Once you start wanting to do it, you start activating, right? And then look, get with other people who want to do it, not with people who don't want to do it.
Yo, man, this is a good build, man. I'm going to be getting out of here in a minute. I'm going to let this ride on out and finish to the end of this. Sister Soul, I see you in the chat. Shout out to you. Hey, when I end this live stream, Sister Soul, please do me a favor. Call my phone. Call my phone, Sister Soul. As soon as this live stream ends. And shout out to Sister Soul. Shout out to everybody in the building. Shout out to Chief Holiday. Jay Woke. Paul Pizzle. What's going on, Paul? See you still in here. Good to see you in here. So let's get it, man. We're going to finish this thing out strong. If y'all enjoying the live stream, make sure y'all support the channel. I want to give a shout out to Reginald Jones for the $5 Cash App donation. Shout out to Reginald Jones. Make sure y'all show that brother some love in the chat. We really appreciate the support. Shout out to Reginald Jones. Once again, you guys, for the $5 Cash App donation. We really appreciate that, brother. Make sure y'all support the channel as well, man. Don't leave without supporting the $5 channel challenge, for all Aboriginal platforms and content. That's only if you enjoy the commentary, the information, or the live stream in general. So let's get it.
Look, check it out. And if you don't do that, you won't get the result. But if you do that, you will get the result. There's no fate or no false destiny hanging over you. The only thing that's hanging over you is your decisions. And at the end of your decision, right, is the treasure or the fear that keeps you in the prison. That's it. Anybody having a problem in their life? Come on. All right. So if you're having a problem in your life, you look at it, you analyze it, you figure out what's going on with it, and then you figure out the answer. That's how it works. But before you get to the answer, guess what you have to have? This is really simple. A decision. And so how you make this best for yourself is informing yourself about what's happening. Because then it's going to make you make the best decision. People who make decisions, oh, I want to join the conscious community. They see people and they see, they see Mr. Farrakhan, they see Africa Bambaataa, they see such and such, they get all hyped. They're like, yeah, man, this is all about righteousness and whatever. Then they come in and somebody do something crazy, and they're like, man, I can't stand this. That nigga stole money from me. That nigga cheated with my girl. This nigga over here. And it's like, what happened? Oh, you had an illusory perception about
Skittles Conway. I see everybody in the chat too. Yita Vilified. Wood. I see y'all, everybody in the building. I'm dropping fire emoji. About to get out of there in a second.
If you want to know more about people, just sit down and talk to them. Right? Don't be going to people's lectures who you ain't had no interface with. Talk to them. Then that nigga's crazy. I don't need to be spending no time around him. Or this is good people. You know what I mean? Yeah.
This is a good segment for me to talk about what I need to talk. So this whole breakdown was pointing out the insufficiencies, the lamentations, the errors, the faultiness, and the failed attempts from the Pan-African paradigm or the Pan-African community. So there should be an evolutionary process that should be taking place amongst this ideology. And that evolutionary process is the Aboriginal paradigm, understanding truly who you are and who Aboriginal peoples is globally. And working on your situation with an Aboriginal paradigm that's going to be efficient to your existence based off an economic plan that totally benefits our people. And then ultimately get into political seating to make change by rules and laws to help benefit our people and to help regulate unconstitutional laws. So shout out to everybody in the building. If you are enjoying this live stream, man, make sure you support the channel. We're going to get out of here. Anybody got any questions before we get out of here? March 31st. Don't forget, man. March 31st is going down, man. I need y'all to get the pay-per-view. Heard it here. Sister Betty, Sister Soul, Unconscious One, Aboriginal Power, Pan-African is dead, the pay-per-view. Y'all gonna want to get that. So shout out to everybody in the building, man. Make sure y'all get those tickets. It's going down. Pan-Africanism is dead, the pay-per-view. It's gonna be one of those ones. It's gonna be one of those ones. You know. Getting into the crevices of this manipulation and how people really never really subdued or persuaded by this going back to Africa or that we're African people. So I want to let you know, man, keep doing your research, keep doing what you got to do as Aboriginal people, as Americans, as American Indians. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Keep doing your work, keep doing your research. Genealogy is the gateway into this understanding, then also having a clear historical understanding, and then having a clear legal understanding and understanding. So shout out to all the like-minded souls and beings that's in the chat and that's in the live stream listening. Hopefully you guys be safe and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I might do a live stream later on tonight. I don't know, just be looking up for that. So if you ain't familiar on how to look up for that, make sure you just hit the notification bell after you subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bells, alert for all alerts, posts, updates, live, up and comings. You want to be having your alert. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Email me, Chief Crazy Overstanding. Email me and I'll shoot you that clip. Or matter of fact, if you want to hit up A.V. I'm pretty sure that brother can send that to you as well. Shout out to A.V. I appreciate you, Chief Crazy Overstanding. All you guys share the up and coming pay-per-view. Sister Soul, I will send the rest of the trailers to you as well. So call me at the end of this live stream, Sister Soul. We about to get out of here. Peace and love and blessings to all the American Aborigines. Make sure you be safe, be aware, stay vigilant, stay dangerous. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, and we out. Peace.
See, my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back, got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. Is that feeling in your stomach? You can feel it coming. Is that feeling in your stomach? You can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it. That's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause